What's up everyone, Alex here. In this video, I want to give you my spoiler-free impressions of Lost Judgment. But before we get to the heart of the matter, I want to bring up something very important. After starting up the game, you will come across a content warning that'll be flashed for a brief moment. But there's more to it than just your typical "this is fiction" statement. The additional text reads, "This game includes depictions and/or discussions of suicide, sexual assault, and bullying. Please exercise caution before playing and take breaks as needed." I bring this up because you might want to know about the presence of these themes, and having played a good chunk of the game, I'll add that it's quite prevalent. That said, rest assured that none of these topics will be discussed in this video. To provide better context to my experience, I have played more than 20 hours of Lost Judgment and counting, and despite not having finished the game, I am extremely confident that the tone and gameplay will remain consistent for the rest of the story. Lastly, I want to thank SEGA for providing me with this PS5 game code, as well as all my fans who posted their questions on my channel's community tab. The first thing that I want to talk about is its combat, and I'm happy to say that it's been greatly improved. For starters, combat feels a lot more fluid and responsive. This is primarily due to a few factors. For one, Yagami's attacks now cause lesser animation locks, which used to prevent you from blocking or taking action. Another is that it's easier to reorient Yagami's attacks when tracking enemies, though they can still slightly evade your blows if you're not careful. Lastly, blocking and dodging feel much quicker. We'll talk about why that is shortly. Fans of the previous game will be happy to know that mortal wounds have been removed from Lost Judgment. Mortal wounds used to inflict a handicap where your life bar would be shortened whenever you got shot or stabbed. Because of its removal, one aspect of Lost Judgment's combat was altered to make it more deadly: getting knocked down. To be precise, getting up from a knockdown now takes considerably more time, sometimes forcing you to mash the X button to speed up your recovery. Normally, you'd acquire a quick recovery skill to negate this, but Lost Judgment doesn't have this available for purchase at all. It's in this sense that the developers seem like they want you to utilize proper dodging and evading more than just brute forcing your way through combat, as one bad hit will leave you lying on the floor, taking more damage than what you'd like. I see this change as a way to continue to differentiate Yagami from Yakuza's numerous protagonists, further reinforcing the idea that while he's quick on his feet, he's not tanky like many of the aforementioned series' playable characters. Which leads me to the addition of my favorite fighting style in the game, the Snake. While the game still tells you to use Crane for multiple attackers and Tiger for single enemies, I found that the Snake style can easily take down opponents quickly, even sometimes finishing them off with a takedown maneuver. Not only that, this style allows you to parry incoming attacks as well as disarm enemies with weapons. It's because of these that I believe that Snake is the most overpowered fighting style in the game. In fact, I played through Lost Judgment with Snake as my default fighting style, and I rarely had an inkling to change away from it. For folks who love changing it up, however, know that changing styles while mid-combo is now made faster thanks to the improvements I mentioned. In the previous game, there's a slight input delay that happens every time you change styles. Lost Judgment allows you to immediately follow up your style switching with a combo, making the transition from one to another more seamless than previous RGG Studio games. That said, I should also add that the game is quite easy on normal thanks to all these combat changes, and anyone wishing a challenging experience should consider increasing the difficulty. With regards to its progression system, it remains largely the same. Aside from the removal of quick recovery, you're still spending SP on stats, abilities, special skills, and unique attacks for each of the three fighting styles. What is more noteworthy about this system, however, is what activities gain SP in the main story. Unlike the previous game, Lost Judgment no longer grants SP for correct responses during interrogations or whenever you present the right evidence. I suspect that the reason for this is that it required players to conform to an unnecessary level of quote-unquote correctness from a studio that never really enforced it. For the exception of a few instances, RGG Studios games encouraged you to select responses that you might not normally choose otherwise, so having this mechanic felt a bit off, especially given how small the benefits were. Unfortunately, what this does mean is that anyone hoping that the detective parts of Lost Judgment would have more depth or consequence won't be getting what they want. To me, however, while the game is about a detective and solving crimes, this is merely a fraction of what the whole experience is, so I'm easily able to forgive this design decision. In other words, action game first, thinking game last. Unfortunately, not every gameplay change is a hit. Tailing people, for example, is clumsier now that safe spots aren't marked, forcing you to use a limited resource that temporarily hides you from your quarry while you're in broad daylight. The brand new stealth mechanic isn't going to help you infiltrate a military base in the middle of an Alaskan snowfield, but by utilizing distractions like coins or throwing smoke bombs in people's faces, you'll be able to breeze past unwitting AI guards easily. And parkour won't exactly have you dropping down flights of floors via tapestries, but it will provide you with an added method of traversal that gives the illusion of even more explorable environs. All told, the changes to foot chases are very welcome despite being minimal, forcing you to deplete your target's stamina while making sure you keep yours up. Setting aside its gameplay for a moment, I do feel that talking about the story is warranted, especially given that many of you have been asking if this game is worth playing for newcomers. I find this to be an interesting question, especially given how Lost Judgment handles its protagonists. While Lost Judgment delivers a better written and more intriguing set of mysteries, much of the game's main cast had their characters developed in the previous game. It's in this sense that Lost Judgment might feel as though you're merely ferrying Yagami from one objective point to another, with little hope of seeing how his character arc might change throughout the story. This dissonance is something that I found present in several portions of the game, with characters feeling uncharacteristically more abrasive than their previous portrayal. While I won't go into explicit detail, I'm reminded of one example where Yagami is continuously asking an eyewitness on several occasions to cough up information by repeatedly coming up to them and asking them to cooperate each time. When Yagami is pressured in the previous game, he often exhibits a cool demeanor and doesn't quite fly off the handle, not resorting to inconsiderate behavior, so seeing him behave in this manner in Lost Judgment was quite puzzling. However, I want to stress that while these did concern me, the improvements in the storytelling outweigh any of these worries. While the previous game did set the stage for us to understand the motivations behind the series' characters, Lost Judgment ups the ante with a more riveting and thrilling mystery, and I believe that it's where the true strength of its storytelling lies. What starts off as a simple story quickly develops into a puzzle that spans both Kamurocho and Ijincho, involving characters from the previous game as well as new players who have their own vested interests in the ongoing events. This results in one of the more intriguing tales that RGG Studios has ever told, and it'll leave you guessing for quite some time. This is all to say that I was, and still am, thoroughly engaged by the stories it tells. And if you love these kinds of tales, there's only a few games that do it better than Lost Judgment. Perhaps the most ambitious part of Lost Judgment has to do with school life, which is a collective term used to describe the many activities you'll encounter while exploring the local high school. To put it differently, school life is Lost Judgment's equivalent to Yakuza 0 and Kiwami 2's Cabaret Club and Like a Dragon's management sim. What separates school life from the aforementioned minigames, however, is how much larger its scope is when compared side by side. School life encompasses multiple minigames that fall under a single storyline, with each featuring its own unique set of stories. I'm certain that many of you have seen Yagami dancing in some of the promotional trailers in the game, and I can confirm that this is indeed one of them. However, you'll just have to play the game to find out what the other activities are. What's interesting about school life, however, is that outside of occasionally getting SP when completing certain milestones, there doesn't seem to be any immediate benefit in doing these apart from experiencing the stories and eventually unlocking new activities. Regardless, I do find that school life easily joins the pantheon of great RGG Studios minigames, and it's one that I highly recommend going through once you've come across it. All in all, I'm really enjoying uncovering the many mysteries hidden deep within Lost Judgment, and I'm happy to say that anyone looking forward to playing this game will be in both shock and awe at the revelations that lie in wait. This might not necessarily be the best starting point for new players interested in playing the series, but there's still a lot of fun things to discover and play around with if you're okay to delay getting to know more about the series cast. Either way, I'm certain with a more flexible combat system and tons of new stories to experience, that you're going to have a blast. Lost Judgment officially comes out on September 24th, 2021 on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Series X and S. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments below, and if you're already playing Lost Judgment, let me know your thoughts about the game in the comments as well. I hope you all enjoy this game, and I'll see you in the next video.